everybody, Brian here. Today we're going to learn a little bit about the IELTS exams. So what are the IELTS exams? IELTS, or IELTS. We usually condense it down because it is much easier saying that instead of actually spelling out IELTS. Now, what does it stand for? It's the International English Language Testing System. It has been built by Cambridge and is tested by the British Council. Therefore, a lot of these words and writings that you will learn how to teach these students is by using the UK form of a lot of writing. As for speaking and for idioms, they will accept both American and UK English, including Australian and any other types of native English speaking countries. So there are two types of IELTS exams. There's the general training and then there's the academic. Now, what's the difference between these two? As you can tell from their name, one is more about general knowledge and the other one is more academic. Usually you have to take, well, not usually, you have to take the academic IELTS exam for these to go overseas and to go into universities overseas as well. Now, what is the difference in the actual tests? The difference is that the listening and speaking are the same. So even if you take general or you take academic, the listening is going to be the same and the speaking topic is going to be the same. That's why when we do speaking, we cover a lot of different topics, ranging from something very easy to something very difficult, and it's also reflective in the different parts of the speaking test. As for the listening, it also is the same. There are 4 parts for the listening test, which range from a general conversation to something very, something academic and something more extreme and more difficult for the listener. As for writing and reading, those will be changed based on what type of test you're taking. The writing and reading will have general topics if you're taking that type of exam, or they will be more academic topics if you're taking that style of exam. The last part about this is that we're going to talk about the bands for IELTS. So according to the British Council, it ranges from 1 to 9. There is technically a 0, but that is if you don't take the test at all. Now, you won't have to worry about students that are in a lower range. Mostly any student that will be starting IELTS is about 3.5 or 3.0. This is your pre-IELTS, and they are about an A2 SEPHR range. So A1, A2, high A1. So therefore they have a pretty good grasp of English concepts. Their vocabulary is still limited. Their grammar use is still limited. They have some confusion about pronunciation and are always experiencing new words and new vocabulary to be able to express themselves correctly. Now, as for the extreme side, so 9 is somebody who would be that you can almost not even tell is an English as a second language learner. So therefore, it seems as though that they can comprehend high-level questions. Their organization of thought is that of somebody who has learned English and how we set up our grammar. Another one would be listening, and there are all different types of confusion of changing topics and using languages or using critical thinking to understand some of these concepts that they may not understand. And then finally, you have your speaking and your reading, which would be academic-wise would be very difficult, especially for us as the native English speakers as well. It is a little bit difficult for them, so keep that in mind when you are teaching that. As for grading IELTS, I will have a link in this video, and what you can do is it actually will help you understand what the scoring is for each individual one. We'll talk more about each type of test and each section in that test, and therefore how they get scaled according to the band descriptors. Now that we know a little bit about the IELTS exam, so who takes it? Well, basically, we have students who are not English native speakers who are taking this test. Here in Vietnam, we have the majority of them taking this test, so they can get a 6.5 or above. The reason for this goal, if not higher, is to be allowed into overseas studies. When you're looking at universities, they have a requirement for SAT, and they also have a requirement for English speaking proficiency. The level of 6.0 or 6.5 is usually what universities are looking for this test. And as an additional note, it's 6.5 as an overall score, but they would like a minimum of 6.0 for the majority of every skill. And you will see how these things are being tested, and you will see how to test them, and finally, how you can score them as well.